Hey everyone, this is that guy with the bow tie, Joshua Gjonaj, and you are listening to Drinking and Mo's.
This is Drinkin at Demos, where we talk about the pros of pro wrestling in the Midwest while sipping on some brews with blessed beers and wrestling. That's my scene. Death matches and lucha libre, it's also mean. I'm a straight up smart goofball, not no kiss ass. I stand tall when it comes to wrestling. I'm the king. I know every move, every fling. Get ready for a wild time with Drinkin at Mo's, where we don't quit. Drinkin at Mo's, that's where it's at, like a power bomb. We hit hard, never flat. Fucking right, we're living the dream. Talking about wrestling, always a scream.
You know, I've always said here at Drinkinatmos, just because it says drinking at Mo's does not mean it has to be alcoholic. So I'm happy to say Drinking at Mo's is sponsored by Prince Nana Coffee. The exact same guy you see every week on Dynamite, on Collision. Yes, he has his own coffee, and it's freaking delicious. They don't even roast those beans until you've placed your order. And you might be telling me, hey, Big Mo, I'm more of a tea guy. They got you covered there too. Use the referral link in the description of this video. And let's get you dancing like Prince Nana with Prince Nana Coffee. All right, everybody, welcome to Drinking at Mo's. Big Mo here. You know the drill by now. YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff, if you will. Trying my best. Dusty roads there probably sucked. Anyways, we're on the audio platforms too. Today is Take Your Son to Work Day because I got mine right here because my wife is working. Anyways, I'm excited to have with me Josh Gjonaj from one of the often partners of a good friend of the show, Peapod. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Hi, Peapod.
Shout out to Peapod. Love that guy.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me on.
No, you're very welcome. I'm very excited to have you on because I like talking to people all throughout the independent wrestling world, the pro wrestling world in general, but even more, especially with having dabbled somewhat in commentary myself, I like talking to people that have been in the same shoes and have been out there doing their thing. So definitely a pleasure. Yeah, my son's making he's excited. He's wiggling around right now. So, first thing I like to ask everybody when they first come on, what got you started as a fan, and then what got you into the business?
So, how I got it, as a fan is because being the little brother of two older ones, they used to collect the wrestling figures. And of course, my dad was actually a wrestling fan himself, and he would watch a lot of WWF stuff. And I remember specifically when I finally paid attention because what I always do with the wrestling figures, I always treated them like they were the supervillains for my superheroes. And didn't know who they were, but then finally it was January 7th, 2002 when Triple H returned from his quad injury. And
where he had the return where he had that wicked looking jean jacket looking thing with the leather sleeves. Looked pretty freaking sick. Love that.
It was that's how I got hooked, and I just heard time to play the game, and I remember my dad just falling asleep on the couch because of course he worked and he probably was like, I am so tired. But I heard that, and then I just sat crisscross applesauce, looked at the TV, and my dad woke up just to get like a Mountain Dew to drink, and then he looked down and he see me watching it and he goes, wait, I don't want to get a drink yet, let me just see how he reacts to this.
Oh yeah, no, I can only imagine when my little guy gets to the age where he actually starts paying attention. I'm gonna be struggling to pay attention to the show itself because I'm gonna be just watching how he reacts. Because I've already watched some wrestling with him.
Mhm.
I've even my wife and I actually met at a promotion here in Omaha. So
Okay.
we were like trying to figure out a time that, the friends we have that run the show,
Mhm.
we wanted to take him so everybody could see him.
Yeah.
So he's technically already been to his first show. And I remember shortly after he was born, I was watching SmackDown and had the friend of mine from Fightful, Alexis Cardoza, does the SmackDown post shows. Shout out to Alexis Cardoza, fellow military veteran right there. But I got to tell the joke during the post show where I super chatted in, and during the show it was I had trying to remember exactly. Yes, I had been holding him, and all of a sudden I started feeling warm on my chest area, and then I'm like, no, and then I lift him up, and I'm like, damn it. So I got the joke that I told during that Fightful post show was my son was so excited about the show he peed on me. They all laughed. I got the reaction I wanted.
It's amazing to like just because like little things like that, and then like just to talk about like the like how to get in it. Like a lot of people, it's always fascinating when I tell people about it. It was like I met like the right people at the right time at a wrestling show here in Michigan, from Horror Slam, and it was Fans Bring Your Weapons Day, and
Mm.
at the time, like I had like 5 jobs where like I didn't take that time off, and then like I used to go to independent shows with like my brother, and then like of course, how much longer do I need to keep begging for him to come to shows where I could finally go on my own? So I finally went to a show by myself. I remember at the time I was just saving up for a car, and like my mom was like, "All right, if you feel uncomfortable, you call me." And I go, "Will do." So of course I got there, got dropped off, and like my mom was like texting me like thinking this is a bad idea, like, "Oh, you're by yourself, you don't know anyone." And then next thing you know, I met someone in the crowd. Like I was like, I don't know anybody, but I think I can make a friend easy.
Yeah.
And then of course the ring announcer was just talking about, hey, the main event is the fans bring your weapons. Be sure to pull those out so the wrestlers can come by and take them. And the person who I met, his name is Chris. Shout out to Chris, and he screamed back. Excuse my language when I say this, but like as he was like touching his booth, he was like, "They could use my fucking table." And it was just so wobbly. And I looked at him and I was like, "I'll help him." And he was like, "Yeah, I got a friend who's gonna help me." And then boom, we clicked it off. Like he was just asking me so much questions during that show. I don't remember much of that show besides meeting Ricky Morton, but like during the show, he was just asking me like, "What do you want to do for wrestling? Do you want to be a wrestler? Do you want to do something with wrestling?" I was like, "I always wanted to be a commentator, but I don't know how." And he was like, "Okay, like maybe you should come to our studio sometime and see what we do." And at the time, the show was called Heel Fan News, and it was a wrestling news channel, and I was their correspondent person, and I like one thing led to another. It just kept going to these shows finally by myself. And I was like comfortable on camera. I was comfortable holding a microphone. Like, yeah, it takes practice, but I was just worth it every single time. And like Floyd too, he was the person who was the brains behind that show. I appreciate him so much for letting me join. And I remember they came to the movie theater I was working at. And they both like walked up to me, and I was working in concession. And like Chris was telling Floyd, like, this is the kid who wants to be our part of our team. And Floyd was like, do you want to travel like to other shows? I said, yeah, tell me where the shows are gonna be. I'm down. He was like, okay. Um, could you work like weekends? And I said I could sacrifice all these like other jobs I have and keep like one or two of them instead of doing five. And then he goes, all right, cool, you're hired. And I was like, sweet. And I was just like so happy just to fulfill that dream. And like here I am now, it's like 6 years in doing this.
Yeah, I love hearing people's origin stories, how they get into the business, because everybody has their own journey. I know me and the little part that I had, I didn't get started watching independent wrestling until I was stationed with the Navy in San Diego. And then I literally just Googled pro wrestling in San Diego, and then boom. And I met, I'm trying to remember when exactly this was, but there was a guy at one show that they billed from Council Bluffs, Iowa, which for those not from the Omaha area, it's literally right across the Missouri River from Omaha. And so I was like, well, dang, I'm from that area. I got to go talk to this guy. Found out he ran a promotion up here. So, yeah, and here I am now. I've had countless people from that promotion on. The guy that I met in San Diego himself, he's one that escaped me because unfortunately he passed away a couple years ago. And like I had him lined up, but his health was going. So it was like, dude, you'll get it figured out. You concentrate on your health first. But hey, I've had plenty of great guests on, from John Wayne Murdoch on twice to Alex Colon to I just released his episode today for Dick Myers, aka Dark Pledge from Revolver, KJ Orso, former Fuego del Sol. That was a fun one. But yeah, I've been lucky. But one thing I was thinking about when I was putting together my notes, and I've talked with a lot of people about this, about the in-ring side of pro wrestling might not be for everybody, but there's generally a part of the show that anybody that wants to put in the work can be a part. Whether because there's, being a referee, there's being the ring announcer, there's tons of production spots, or there's commentary, which, I mean, good commentary is so important for a show because, I mean, yes, people are going to remember more of the in-ring spots, but for the people that aren't there live and are having to watch, either live streaming it or watching later on whatever platform, the storytelling, good storytelling from the commentators is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I've seen some bad ones, but I've seen some great ones. I know, oh God, Kevin Gill, formerly GCW, he's all over the place. I love the energy that he brings. Peapod, yourself, or one that like I modeled myself over, and I feel kind of funny about it. But Pat McAfee, I love his energy because his energy is like me when I'm just in the crowd.
Yeah.
I'm that guy in the crowd trying to get somebody to crack, whether it's a wrestler, referee, whoever. So when I've done commentary, I'm like, I am bringing that to commentary. I'm going to be the Pat McAfee of my commentary team.
And that's fine. And like, everybody like has their own twists and like stuff like that. Like I remember when I was just starting, like those gentlemen I mentioned, Chris and Floyd, they said to me, "What? Well, what are you gonna wear when you do commentary?" And I go, "A bow tie." And they're like, "Yeah," and I go, "Yeah." I mean, you don't see that much anymore in like bow ties besides like like if it's like a big show like
Yeah.
WrestleMania, Wrestle Kingdom, people will wear bow ties, sure. But like Mike Tenay, like when he was doing commentary, he would definitely wear a bow tie in TNA days, and I was like, I really do like that look, and like it helped me grew confident to just wear those, and like the fun like fact that I always tell people, I don't wear the same bow tie like at all. I have to change it up because my psycho brain is going to know that these fans are going to notice that, oh, he wore that last time. Now they don't think about that. They think like, man, this guy is really committed to what he's like wearing to these shows.
That's another thing, especially for the fans that are live streaming or whatever it might be, is they can definitely sense the enthusiasm of the commentary team. Like if
Mhm.
it's falling flat, yeah, you're gonna be hearing about it.
Yes.
And then again, you're also gonna hear about the people that are doing great at it. Because like going back to the whole storytelling aspect, you are like the active in-ring part, yes, that's for both those there in person and those watching it however else. But for the people at home, the commentary is so important because you're adding that much more to the storytelling that's going on there in the ring. Because, I mean, some of the great commentary moments people always remember, like, go, JR, like, Scott is my witness. He is now for slobber knockers. Everybody can remember somebody from, especially recently, that just has had that.
Yes. Yes.
Now, working with Peapod, good, good dude. What has that been like for you?
So I would say like shout out like to Peapod, like I even though we already did, but it's just legit. I tell him like he has brought out a lot more fun to shows to me. And like doing color, like I haven't done color commentary or analysts in like quite a while. And even though like we discussed like, hey, like would you be okay with it? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like why not? And as the joke, like the running joke of him and I, like I named us Peni, and he hates it. He hates it so much. But I said to him, I said, no, that's our team name. And he goes, no, no, it's not. And I go, oh, it is. People are gonna chant it one day, and you are going to love it. And then he was like, I will hate it. I will mute everyone, and I will not talk to you. I said, you will talk to me every day still. But just to hear like every single time that we talk and we discuss some things, like he would give me the feedback, which is awesome. And like just going to see him, like when we do post match commentary, and like we sat and like we go to a library and we sit there and we just like have fun. And like I remember when we had to do Triple Extreme for Neo Pro Wrestling, and like for some reason I just looked at Peapod and I said, hey, would it be funny you just say like, hey, don't tell anyone this, but Josh is here at a strip club, and I go, and he started laughing, and he goes, that's brilliant. It's stupid and witty, but like seriously, folks, don't tell my mom I went to a strip club. Like seriously, she doesn't need to know. I don't want her to like find out. But it's just little moments like that. Like we bring out the best. Like meeting Peapod was at RCW, and like at first I didn't know how I felt at the time, but like then getting to know him and growing with someone like seeing people tag him into like, hey, who's available to do commentary? People tagged him, people tagged me, and next thing you know, like we are just deciding to make it as an official team to get a booking out there and just to do like everything together.
Mm. Yeah, and you guys do great together. I know me. I've had yeah, I've had. Oh, hello. Let me pause this to do. All right, technical difficulties. That shit happens. Anyways, believe I was talking about yeah, witty moments on commentary. I've had my own. I've had my own. I remember it being the debut show for a promotion, and they were talking about the second show, and my commentary partner, people should learn not to give me an opening for a joke because I'm going to take it.
Mhm.
As he started talking about, it looks like the going to be a solid second show, and I'm like, yeah, because nobody likes a runny number two. He just had to like, God damn it. Yep, I
But
I I could not help myself, and oh god. Okay, I also got to fit in a your mom joke in on commentary because somebody came in for a third person, and they my commentary partner and them were talking about something about, oh, who else does the better than whoever it was. I'm like, your mom. Oh, but enough about me. You brought up one of the places you work with Peapod at, Njpw. Now,
yes.
I've been getting up to speed on a lot, and I love that even when I'm over 350 episodes deep right now, I am
Mhm.
still learning new stuff
Yeah.
about the business, new places. Njpw, a promotion that I'm becoming familiar with a little more lately after meeting Peapod. I might not have been as familiar before, but now, for those not in the area, what's going on with Njpw right now?
So if you are in the Ohio area, definitely get a ticket sometime to see a Neo Pro show. Like what's going on? Like we are now in a new era, the no shame Jimmy Shane era, winning the Neo Pro title from Ashton Day in a last man standing, grueling battle between those two, and like we saw the most shocking thing ever of Uncle Wilbur Whitlock, turning his back on the Neo Pro fans and just helping Jimmy Shane to win the title. It stunned the hell out of me because as a guy who got to know Wilbur for 2 years, he was trying to get me to get to Neo Pro. Like he wanted me to be on commentary, which is a true story. And like me and Wilbur, we were talking, and now like we're not as talking. Like it's unfortunate just to see this new side of him. Like as he said at I believe it was White Noise when me and Peapod debut at Neo Pro Wrestling, and Wilbur was talking to the fans saying this could be his last year, and just to see a new like crack into Wilbur Whitlock just shocked me.
Yeah.
Uh, And then like we got new tag team champs being Studio 86, who I've known for quite a while. I know I keep saying that, but it's true. Like being in the Michigan area, you get to know a lot of people, and Studio 86 was one of them. Trey Lamar won the Great Lakes title and a grueling triple threat with Hayden Backlund and Ryan Zane, and like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the crowd, someone with a mask, and it was Christian Napier. Napier stole that Great Lakes title, and what's going to happen? I don't know. And then, of course, I'm going to say it once, and I'll say it again. Don Tavio did nothing wrong, but Don Tavio and having issues with Mega Championship Wrestling's own Colt Johnson and Brandon Xavier was in the crowd, and boy, did not sit well. And of course, it was weird to see Brandon Xavier in the crowd and like saying that he's going to rebrand Neo Pro to Mega Pro, and like of course he said the first person he was going to fire is yours truly, and like I've worked at Mega Championship Wrestling, but I didn't know how to feel about that because I hope Don Tavio teaches Colt Johnson a lesson because Colt likes to run his mouth, and I know for a fact that Don Tavio is going to knock him silly. I guarantee you on that.
Oh boy, yeah. On one hand, it's like, yeah, running their mouth, but when I think about it, when it comes to being a heel, that's classic heel right there. You're running your mouth to the point where fans pay their good money to hopefully see you get your ass kicked. That you're doing your job right there. But yeah, no, we don't want you getting fired from anywhere.
Yes, no.
we don't want you getting fired from anywhere. But yeah, that sounds like a lot of great stuff. And another place I've done a preview show for this promotion and trying to work out a time to get them on again, doing great things for women's wrestling and Divine Pro Wrestling. That is actually, that preview episode that I did was actually, as of right now, the most viewed preview episode that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
By far. With
Divine is awesome.
Oh yeah, they're doing such great things. Like they're proving the amount of great women's wrestling that's out there. They're proving like a lot of you hear it on the national stage a lot about women not getting shown enough, and like I've heard some people in management talking about wondering if women could carry the show. Places like Divine are showing that you give them a spotlight, they can carry the show just as well as anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know coming up, I think this episode might be out after, but one person that I'm very familiar with, got to meet her a couple times, Sierra coming to Divine. That's gonna be something special. Like, I know they already got I believe newly crowned champion Crowley.
Yep, Big Al.
She's a tough cookie in and of herself.
Yes.
So what are you looking forward to with the future of Divine? Because I mean, like we said, they got somebody like Sierra coming in who I like with her the term equal opportunity ass kicker. Mm-hmm. She'll, regardless of I'm sorry, I startled my little dude right there. But like, regardless of gender, she'll get in there and mix it up with whoever just as good and have just as killer of a match.
I'm very looking forward to anything like with Divine Wrestling. Like, I haven't gone to a Divine show just yet, but like I've seen a lot of photos. I see a lot of people getting great opportunity. Like, there's a lot of new faces that's showing up, which is amazing, I'm happy to see. Like you were mentioning, like a women's division finally just being put on the map, which is nothing to be like that's not really truly heard of. Like, it's not going to be a slept on company, and they're grinding no matter what. Like, they have Peapod who does commentary there. They have Summer Rawson she's awesome. I worked with Summer before, and like seeing Summer, like I remember Ethan, who runs Divine, him and I, we go back and forth, and like as he was talking to me, he was like, "How would you feel like if you were to be on commentary?" I'm not against it, but I was like, "But it would just be weird just to have two males on a women's show. Like,
It,
let's
it would be different, yeah.
yeah." And I said, let's throw a female in there, give Summer a chance because Summer should get out there and get her name out there. And nothing against that. Like I wanted Summer just to get the opportunities that I'm getting. And like
Yeah.
same thing with Peapod. Like you have Peapod as a mentor. What a good person to learn under
Oh,
the learning tree from.
oh, most definitely. I've even used him as a bit of a mentor myself because I've ran into some, like in a lot of places in life, every now and then, as much as you try to avoid it, drama happens. And so he's been kind of my voice of reason outside, like an outside perspective from not being in the area. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, very valuable person to be in contact with right there. Definitely a lot of good for the business. Now, remember you two being a team. I've seen the posts and I love the we're not called that. Going back to I can't even say it without laughing.
Oh, it's great. It's a great name, man. I'm telling you.
Oh man. But there was the different promotions up there that like a lot of people do for displaying where they've been at. And I love the logo that looks like one of those like dark metal scream, the Ruthless Pro, like one of those bands that has those wacky logos that's like you're squinting your eyes trying to make sure if you're reading it right.
Yep.
Like I've seen so many bands like that, and where you hear them and you're wondering how could they even do a whole song like that. I can't do that for like more than 5 seconds.
Right.
But Ruthless Pro, great stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been getting even more familiar because I forget. People talk. I've had many nicknames throughout my life. One after the podcast that I forget who it was that gave it to me, but I'm like, I like the ring of that. With the amount of deathmatch people that I've had on, calling me the independent deathmatch podfather, I'm like, there's a nice ring to it. I mean, when you've had people like John Wayne Murdoch, Madman Pondo, Alex Cologne, goddamn, I've lost count. Like the amount of people from Matt Tremont's promotion H2O. There was a point where I lost count of how many people I've had on through there. But it just I'm a fan of deathmatch wrestling. That I'm not denying that. I've had countless people on, and yeah, my son's getting a little entertained right now watching me be animated. But Ruthless Pro, I've had to be careful with watching them around when my wife's in listening distance, because she ends up hearing some of the stuff that's being described, that's being used in some of the matches, and she looks at me like, what? And I got no problem with foul language on the show, but I literally have heard her say, what the fuck are you watching? But hey, it like you get I gravitate towards those intense personas and deathmatch wrestling in general, but Ruthless Pro definitely has a lot of those.
Yeah. And it's a nice thing, like just you were talking about like nicknames, like my nickname, like that guy with the bow tie. Like I'm so happy to have that. And like the one person that actually like really came up with that and helped me with it was a gentleman by the name of Aaron Stevens, formerly known as Damian Sandow. Like
Oh,
he was the one who really like thought like that was a brilliant like thing to keep, and I was like, yeah, and he was like, yeah, call yourself that. Don't get rid of that. And so now like every promotion, like I'll make sure to have that guy with the bow tie out there because it just has a good ring to it and
it
it
definitely
rhymes.
does.
Yeah, and it rhymes with my last name too, which is great.
Oh yeah, it even rhymes with the team name.
Yes, yes.
Oh my god, I'm gonna man, I'm gonna be remembering that for a while now. Man, that
It's
oh
it's
man,
a great name.
that's oh god, the late great Bray Wyatt in some of those Firefly Funhouse things with that one puppet. That's such good shit.
And it's just it's the good thing about that because like a lot of people just they would ask me like how many bow ties do you have like is as soon as I see that poster I have to do a lot of homework just to find something that could go good with this and like uh back to Njpw Jason Jason said to me because I sent him a bow tie that I'm gonna wear for one of the shows. He goes, I think I'm gonna have a challenge to make sure you can't find a bow tie to go with the posters now. And I go, God damn it, no, I don't want this challenge, but all right, I'm up for it because just learning about styles and like learning about like because like for God's sakes, like when I worked at a suit shop, Men's Warehouse, it made me realize like what style is truly style. And like every time like if I can't find like a bow tie, I don't go to sleep. I have to find this bow tie as soon as possible.
Oh yeah, no, I my wife gives me crap sometimes because like I'll have different moments where like I'm about ready for bed and then all of a sudden I'm like shit, forgetting something and I'm like I will not be able to relax at all to the point where I'll be able to fall asleep unless I either figure out whatever it is or find like if I think like oh shit I forgot where I put something and I
Mhm.
like I have to find it.
Yep.
I totally get that mentality. But yeah, so that yeah, wow. I could go on a few more tangents here. Lord knows I do enough of that around this damn show. But get into a couple categories I have here that I like to round off the show with. First one's a bit of a name game where I name off some people and you give me some quick thoughts on them. It,
Okay.
I try to theme it towards the guest as much as possible. And so, being on the commentary side of things, I picked a handful of people big on the commentary side of wrestling. First one, I haven't always been the biggest fan of this guy, but you know, much like with wrestlers and being the heel, this guy he can definitely be a heel commentator, but then he can be somebody I can get behind. Corey Graves.
What I could think about Corey Graves, really like somebody who really understands a lot of things. And like that's another person who I could just kind of get a wink and a nod for because of style. If you see him like early days, like when They still do, but like on the broadcasting, they'll show him, and like Corey Graves always had like the hairstyle, always had something going on like with his ties or like with his suit jackets. So
Mm-hmm.
I give that wink and a nod. Corey Graves really good in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I love how I love some of the back and forth that he's had with some of his commentator partners throughout the years. It's some good shit. Anyways, next up, a guy that has been around the block, and he's even been getting involved in some storylines here as of late. The great Tony Schiavone.
Yeah. Um, I would say Tony's like literally someone I truly like got to like really hooked on and um has really taught me to be a little more animated. To be, hey, you could be like this and like not be the so-called like you gotta look both sides. Like Tony Schiavone doesn't like what FTR is doing. Okay, well, here's what I don't like. I don't like what Cash Inc. is doing, and they've been a thorn on my backside for quite some time. And Peapod tries to tell me that I'm the bad influence, which I'm not, folks. I'm not. I promise you.
Oh yeah, no, oh, crap, dropped something. Anyways, but yeah, no, Tony Schiavone's been great ever from the days of WCW and some of the I back when before the NWO got kind of watered down with them letting seemingly everybody in. The back and forth that the commentary, you'd really hear them, rooting for WCW. It looked like whoever's, gonna be that flag bearer, and really digging into the NWO guys. And then now with FTR, like I'm loving it, loving it. Another guy that definitely isn't afraid to say it how it is. But hey, he knows the in-ring side of it too. The human suplex machine, Taz.
Yeah. Taz was legit like one of the like guys like not even like for color, but like when I started watching wrestling, like Sunday Night Heat was like my go-to. And when he was like with Michael Cole, like that just made me enjoy Taz's little wittiness and just to be a little funny. So that's where I get most of my like humor from because Taz likes to throw some like wild zingers, and I'm like, I'm going to try like you were talking about, like make someone laugh. Like I try my best to do that.
Oh yeah, no, that he is another one, much like you said, that yeah, if I were on commentary, I'd be doing the same thing, trying to just get people to crack. And one guy that has definitely done that for me, gotten me cracking up on more than one occasion, Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Like some of his one-liners, like calling Dominic Mysterio, like he was like a dude wipe after you wipe, or oh God. I know if I saw the clips again that I'd be able to say some more specific ones, but that dude wipe after you wipe one was just, I don't know. I love those little one-liners that just get you like,
Yep.
Yeah, no. But for you, what are some thoughts you have on Pat McAfee?
McAfee is someone different, and like you were mentioning, just to be a fan, and like there's nothing wrong with that. Like everyone has their opinion, saying like, oh, they don't like this person or that person. For me, like Pat joined, and he's a legit fan, and I got to give him props for that because He's not just some guy from who was in the NFL who like, oh, like I'm gonna join wrestling. No, he legit watched wrestling and still was doing anything he could to get on there. And just to hear that story of him, I can't remember which WrestleMania, but he had the tuxedo shorts, and Michael Cole
Mm.
got so angry at him. I remember just like laughing about that, but I know like one of my friends, like I talked about Chris, he told me if you wear shorts on commentary, I'm not going to be happy with you. And I was like, I promise you, I won't wear shorts. So I try to, wear my suits or like at other places, I try to do like a casual look with like a dress shirt and like jeans with a bow tie. But like Pat McAfee, like is someone who brings out a lot of different things and it makes you like okay, like I have someone on TV that I could act like I'm there and he's actually saying those things that I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, like from everything from him jumping up on the commentary table during Jey Uso's entrances and doing the or oh god, there's so much stuff. You can definitely sense his enthusiasm, like it's infectious.
Yeah.
All right, now I got some random questions, some wrestling related, some not, some that probably nothing to do with anything we've talked about so far.
Yeah.
So first one, craziest in match moment that you were there to call.
Honestly, like I tell people this, like it was a staple gun match at a charity show.
Oh.
And I say that was the craziest thing because I remember just sitting there and like I was like yes horrified but just also like we're like a lot they made a lot of money for that matchup. It's because people were handing out dollars and guys were just stapling them and I go what is and then I remember the call I said what in the world is happening. And then like after the show was over and they were like yeah we made like about $300 and I go what.
Yep, that would definitely fit right in there for crazy in match moments. I've been lucky enough to witness a handful. Conveniently enough, a lot of them had ended up being at Sammy Callahan's promotion Revolver.
Mm-hmm.
I swear, like from before the second Gear Crew split up, and some of the matches they had there from oh god, scaffolds being involved more than once, getting to tell each of them that their matches might as well be sponsored by Home Depot.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, each of them still, especially Matthew Justice and Old Manser.
Mm-hmm.
Their matches might as well be sponsored by Home Depot. And that is not a dig at them. I love it.
Yeah, no.
Oh, God. What? Oh, one that included all three of them after they split. They were involved in my personal favorite Revolver show of their calendar year, Cage of Horrors.
Mm.
And fire was used in two different spots. It was like, oh God, TNA used to have those Clockwork Orange House of Horrors matches. This was basically their version of that, but they had a scaffold over the ring, and it was complete insanity, and I loved every damn minute of it. I was like third row for that match. Loved it. Yeah, you get it. Anyways, yeah. Sometimes when I get animated, my little guy just gets the hugest kick out of it, and I love it. But All right. Next up, I have, hell, in my collection right here. I'm outside of wrestling. I love a good movie as much as anybody.
Yeah.
And growing up, it was always pro wrestling or Ninja Turtles from me. One of my personal favorite movies, not the one that these two guys are on, but, well, behind that. The one sequel that I think almost surpasses the original, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze. Love that freaking movie. What is a favorite movie of yours?
Okay, so I'm a Ninja Turtles person as well. So I'm gonna say outside of Ninja Turtles, I really love me some Ghostbusters a
Okay.
lot. I even though like a lot of people they shock me because like of my age, but like there's times where I talk about Ghostbusters. Like I remember like I wanted like to always like collect some sort of Ghostbusters.
Mm.
And so I have like their Funko Pops. And like I finally got the Ecto one, which made me smile.
Oh.
And so like and like every single time like just to collect little things like that, it's always like a kid of joy. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
said to myself, like if there's a company that I'm saying this now, if a promotion does a Ghostbusters theme, I'm definitely going to probably get a Ghostbusters like jumpsuit and I'm gonna wear a bow tie with it because
Yeah, I like it.
I really want to do something like that and like just moments like that because I love movies and like Ghostbusters and like horror films my go-to.
Okay. I want to get into that a little bit of what you were just mentioning there, but I had a couple things I wanted to say before that. When you talked about Ghostbusters, I had some involving Ghostbusters that I think you'd get a kick out of. I was recently in Kansas City. They had the Savannah Bananas were down there, and over the weekend, my wife and I and the in-laws we went down to City Market in Kansas City, and they have this soda shop down there, all different varieties of all sorts of stuff. Well, in their energy drink aisle, I saw a energy drink that had the Slimer guy from Ghostbusters on it. I forget,
Oh,
and I'm like, oh my god, I have to get that.
yeah, of
I've already
course.
drank it. It was all right, but I'm like, oh, I when you brought up Ghostbusters, I had to say that. But also being a Ninja Turtles guy, I I was raised on the original cartoon. Like that was Saturday mornings. If I had to miss that, I was pissed.
Mhm.
A couple years ago, I actually got to meet the voice of Michelangelo
I
from the
love that.
original cartoon.
I
And
love it.
speaking of Funko Pops, bam,
That's
signed.
amazing.
And speaking of the movies, that same convention, the guy behind Splinter.
That's impressive. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I've been slowly rebuilding my Ninja Turtle collection. Like it got a bunch of the NECA stuff, the the Universal Monster mashups they have.
Hmm.
I love those same things. I'm only missing two:
Yeah.
Splinter as Van Helsing and Donatello as Invisible Man. The only two I do not have. I have every other one, including both versions of Leo and both versions of Wrath.
That's amazing.
I got them all. But so going into horror movies, because okay, I used to not be into horror movies at all,
Hmm.
but I've slowly been able to get into the slasher subgenre of the horror movies.
Mhm.
the Jasons, the Michael Myers, stuff like that. I will say though, the the genre of horror that I I don't want to touch is the whole demonic possession stuff. I can't do it because
Mhm.
there's too many of those that literally have like that fine print based on a true story. I'm like, that's why I don't want to mess with it because I'm like, that shit happened.
Mhm. Mhm.
I, I'm not fucking with that because I'm not messing with something that could actually happen.
Yes.
Nope. Give me the psycho dude running after people with a machete or whatever that can't seem to be killed. Give me stuff that you know won't actually happen. I can deal with that because I can have it in my head that that's not actually possible. But you get those like the paranormal stuff and the demonic possession. I'm like, that shit happens. No, no. All right. So we mentioned a little bit about collections. I've talked about some of mine. What
Mhm.
is a hobby or a collection you have?
So, of course, I used to collect Funko Pops, but
Okay.
I used to um get the ones that I enjoy. But like stuff that I really do like enjoying is like seeing something of wrestling that you don't
Mm.
really see that often. One of them in particular is 1985 Big Gulp 7-Eleven WWF cups.
Oh.
Yes. And like I remember going to a comic book store and this guy had like 5 cups and I only have 5, but I'm so contemplating just to finish the whole collection. Like I have a lot more to go. But who he had was Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Nikolai Volkov, Junkyard Dog, and Iron Sheik.
Mm.
And so I talked to the guy and I said, "Okay, how much are you selling this for?" And he looks at them and looks at me and he goes, $5. And I was like, sold. So I gave him the $5 and I had all 5 cups. And
Nice.
like and that's like one of my favorite things. And like another thing like I really do enjoy if I ever go to like a comic shop or something, if they have muscle figures, you bet your sweet ass I'm gonna get some muscle figures because I really enjoy some and like I have like a huge lineup of them. I'll definitely send you a picture of it, but like I
Mm.
have a huge lineup of it and it's just something I enjoy and like I'm hoping one like if I learn how to do this or if I could send to someone if they send me a message, I would love a like muscle keychain just to have on my keys, just to have
That
because
would be
I
pretty.
yeah, no, because I told people, and I have to find this, but like what I used to do, and I still kind of want to do, is give it to like these like whoever I became like good friends with. I want them to have like I had the Jack Specific WrestleMania
Mm.
2 ring, and I switched the turnbuckles to Japan style
Mm.
turnbuckles. But I want to use those turnbuckles to just give it to friends. Like, hey, this is you're a good friend of mine. I want you to put this on your car keys because I have mine. And every time someone sees it, especially like a wrestling fan, like they will go, "Dude, that's a cool. Where'd you get the turnbuckle?" And I go, "Oh, it's from the Jack Specific WrestleMania 2 ring." And they go, "Oh, that's so smart. Like, why didn't I think of that?" And I'm like, "Hey, it's never too late. If you still have it, just take it apart, put it on your keys, and you're set."
Nice. I I have the ring up here up top where
Mhm.
I have the only figures I really take out of the box for the wrestling ones are for the people that have passed away.
Mhm.
I have a whole and I have a ring that I put them all in.
Yeah.
Same thing with my Funko Pops. I don't have a ring for them, but I have in my ring up there ones that I can see right off the top of my head. Bam Bam Bigelow, Ultimate Warrior, Rick Rude, Sid Vicious, Big Boss Man. Like I'm really looking for a Bray Wyatt one right now. Put it front and center
Yeah.
because my podcast actually has a little connection with Bray Wyatt, which I love telling the story. And before we go on to the next question, you know what? I'll go ahead and tell the damn story because one that I just love telling. I once had former Ring of Honor 6-man tag champ Dutch on. Love the guy.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. But I forget if it was me posting about having recorded with him, or I think it might have been when I actually released the episode. It was one of the two. But I remember being on my way home from work, and all of a sudden I get a Twitter alert. I didn't recognize the little picture, the profile picture. So I'm like, when I get to a stoplight, I'll check.
Yeah.
I did, and I about dropped my phone because it was Bray Wyatt. And that was, liking the post about the show with Dutch. I'm like, I didn't know at the time that he was friends with Bray Wyatt. So I messaged Dutch and I'm like, you friends with Bray Wyatt? He was like, oh yeah, I'm talking. And I'm like, that explains so much right now. Because like in my head, I was like, holy shit. Mm-hmm. Bray Wyatt is actually acknowledging something of my little show. Mm-hmm. This is freaking awesome. And yeah, no, his passing kind of hit me a little hard because I'm not all that much older than he was.
Yeah.
And then for him to go the way that he did and realizing that, geez, he wasn't much younger than I am, it kind of like, holy crap. It makes you really rethink some stuff. All right. Well, now that I put things on a bit of a downer right there, we'll go into some good stuff while I startle my son again. Anyways, one thing I've had this talk with a few people because whenever like lotteries get up to like some astronomical number, I always hear it. Oh, you'll never be able to spend that much money. I'm like, I always tell them, watch me. Like, you give me that amount of money and tell me that I have to spend every penny of it. I might be buying multiples of some stuff, but I will find a way to do it. Yeah. And it brought up the term that I like to call fuck it money. Where you're just like, something you've always wanted, but you've never been able to afford it. So you're like, you know what? You have that amount of money? So fuck it. I'm going to get it. What is one of the first things you'd get if you came upon fuck it money?
That's a very good, tough question in my opinion. There's a lot of things that I really would like to do. Like one of them, like of course, is to have something like where I could just get my own place, of course. But also I would love to just to help out people. That's just how I am. And the reason why, like you were just talking about Bray Wyatt, like I remember receiving that news from one of my good friends. He told me about it, and like a lot of times, like you always got to rethink about a lot of time in life, and like there's times like that could creep up on me. And the one thing I really do is just helping out people has really made me smile in a way. like no matter what, just to see if people like I always like to listen to people's like stories and like I've never like sometimes like I always sit here like now like in my brain back of my brain like think like you really haven't done much like you're on a podcast what are you doing but now like just talking to her now it's like yeah I have done a lot really and like I always want people to leave on a positive note with me.
Mm.
And the reason why, and like just to have that fuck it money, and I just like want to give out just little bits and be like, hey, do what makes you happy. And like for me, like as a guy who, you know, who's 4 years sober at this moment of the recording, like I enjoy being that. I'm enjoying my life a little more because like having to realize that since we talked about passing, like last year, I in 2024, I almost passed away, like due to a heart complication, and it was scary.
Yeah.
Being very young, and it's just realizing how much people would reach out to you, and I was like, this really means a lot, and like
Mm.
I always want to give back to the people whoever, if they are struggling or if they just feel like, hey, I don't know where I'm at this point, like I want to share it with them.
No, yeah. No, I could definitely respect that because I know for me, I've always I like making people laugh. I like making people smile. If I can, I've actually I get a little choked up when I talk about it, but I've literally had people tell me with, you know, the podcast and some of the goofy TikTok stuff that I've done. It was like my sense of humor and stuff really helped them out during whatever it might have been. I'm like, I remember I can't remember who exactly it was right now, but I do remember reaching out and telling them that is probably the single biggest compliment anybody could have ever given me.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down. But yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, I definitely would want to those that have been there for me, I would definitely want to be like, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. All right. So, you mentioned being 4 years sober. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
So, with this one question I have, because I feel like with the name of a show like I have to ask it. And just because it says Drinkin' at Moe's doesn't mean that it has to be alcoholic.
Mm.
Favorite drink?
Root beer. I love me a root beer.
Yeah.
Anytime someone like there's a menu, if there's a root beer, give me a nice cold glass with that. I would be happy. No matter what, like I tell people, if you're at the bar and you like sit and you drink, cool. I'm not gonna judge you. I'm gonna have myself a root beer. I'll sit next to you and I'll just click it off with you no matter what.
Oh yeah. No, that seems to be the consensus with the vast majority of those in recovery that I've been connected with.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, you know, if you want to, that's fine, you know, but as long as you're respectful of them not,
Mm-hmm.
they're good. Because like, yeah, I do. Earlier this week I was having one as I was recording. But to be honest, more often than not, when I'm recording, I'm a bit of a Dr. Pepper fiend.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper's good.
Oh man, that soda shop in Kansas City, once they had a whole shelf that was just different places, variations of Dr. Pepper. Like they did have and all in glass bottles too, which is like you don't see that very often, but they did have Dr. Pepper made with real cane sugar in a glass bottle. And I'm like, oh shit, I gotta have that. And then just other places with different wacky names. And I'm like, My wife likes to tell me I have a problem. I tell her as long as I got some, I don't have a problem. It's all figured out.
Yeah.
And I also tell her there's a lot worse things that I could have an addiction to. So, yep. As long as I got some, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. Now, 2 more questions here. First one, it's been in the news, some confusion around the next WrestleMania. The location was going to be New Orleans, and Vegas, and oh no, it could be somewhere else. Who the hell knows right now? But everybody that's a wrestling fan has a WrestleMania moment that's their favorite.
Yeah.
Favorite WrestleMania moment of yours?
Ooh. I honestly have to go with my very first one, being WrestleMania 21.
Hmm?
I like, of course, you can have your 17s, you can have your 19s, so on and so forth. But like for me, like that was my first WrestleMania, and it just holds a soft spot for me.
Oh yeah.
And I remembered like my neighbor just recorded off his uh, VHS, and like he had the tape, and then like he came over the next day and he goes, "You want to watch WrestleMania 21?" And I go, "Yes." And he goes, "I recorded the whole thing." And I go, "Put it on." And like I think he was like 10 years older than me. And then like he just like, because he was friends with my brothers, he was friends with me. And then like he put it on and I'm just like watching it. And I was just so mesmerized just to see like the very first Money in the Bank ladder match. Orton versus Taker, Angle versus Michaels, which was my favorite, like one of my favorite matches that I could go on and talk about to people.
Oh,
And like seeing the new ushering of new eras of John Cena, Batista, just little moments like that, and then just see those commercials counted down just
oh,
would
oh
would make
yeah.
me laugh. Yeah, would just make me laugh because it was great.
Oh yeah. Those were some good ones. Conveniently enough, my first WrestleMania that I got to watch as it was happening was actually the one before that,
Okay.
WrestleMania 20. Yeah, that one holds a special spot for me. But then also a more recent one that holds a special spot for me is one that the Kevin Owens and Stone Cold had their little match,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
and Stone Cold's like my favorite ever.
Mhm.
Like out of my collections, he's the one person that actually has his own little section behind me here. I actually even have one of his beers. I need
Hey,
to
same
find
here.
I
Same
I
here.
I need to find more because they don't sell it here in Omaha. So that I keep on trying to make it happen. Anyways, I actually I kind of got to meet Kevin Owens one time, but not really, because when my family and we went to Disney World kind of towards the end of the pandemic, but they were still doing their, they were open, but the whatever precautions. Well, I remember we were on our way out. I had to bend down to pick up something. I don't remember exactly. All I remember was as I was getting back up, all of a sudden that T-Rex skull tattoo pops into view. And then I'm like, wait a damn minute. And I finish looking up and it's Kevin Owens. And I'm like, he was with his family. This was like Main Street, USA. They're like crowds of people. And I'm like, oh my God. Like trying not to, I wanted to say something, but it was one of
Mhm.
those like, oh man, he's with his family and we're in the
Yep.
middle of Disney World. Like, I know I saw him, but I will admit I ran up to my wife and like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Yeah, I fanboyed out a little bit, but I will say that if we were in the parking lot
Mhm.
and I saw him, oh, I'm stopping.
Oh, yeah.
I, I won't I won't like take up too much of his time, but I would have said something at least.
Yeah,
But
for
we're like
sure.
right in the middle of the damn park. I'm not gonna cause a scene out there.
If there was one, like, because not to sound like I'm bragging it in a way, but like Kevin Owens was one of my first people I met when he was leaving Ring of Honor, like when I was a fan, and like he said to people straight up, like, I don't want to do YouTube intros, guys. I'm just here to just take photos and I can sign some things, and then I got to go to the next town. But like a lot of people were like disappointed, but me just being excited. Just thanks to Matt Hardy for giving me like a fandom to Kevin Owens slash Kevin Steen. Like I stopped him and we just talked for a minute, and I said to him what I wanted to do, and he goes, "I don't have any advice. Like no offense, but like if you find a way, just go for it." And I'm like, just go for it. Okay. And here
Hey,
I am.
hey, kind of the same way I went about this dang podcast.
Yep.
I got the idea and then I'm like, screw it, let's give this a shot. And
Yeah.
then here I am now, inching closer to 400 episodes, and I am all like I'm inching closer to the point where I can actually start getting super chats and stuff on YouTube. Hey,
Yeah.
I never would have gotten there if I didn't take those first couple steps.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Last but not least here, best advice you have for anybody wanting to get into the business.
I really like this one, like a lot. Um, I will share with what Eddie Kingston said to me when I was starting. Just no matter what in this life, if you overthink, if you suffer through depression, anxiety, if you suffer through anything, just know like there's a light at the end of this tunnel. This business could do a lot of things to you. It can make you regret, it can make you overthink, it can make you think like you won't make it. But just know you will eventually. It all takes time. And my advice, like to continue that, is yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Like love what you do, because little moments like this, like when a door closes, another one opens. And no matter if you feel like you are a failure, as a guy myself who thinks that, I just know that there's so many people who just would tag me or who would just recommend me or who would just say, hey, have this kid do this. And like every opportunity I had and still am getting, I'm seriously grateful for.
No,
And it's just one of those moments where if you want to do, like, if you like wrestling, awesome. Keep liking it, because if you want to be a referee, be a referee. If you want to be a ring announcer, be a ring announcer. If you want to be anybody production wise, do it. If you want to be a commentator, awesome. Go for it. And if you want to put, like, to be a wrestler, me as a chicken, I respect anyone who steps into between those ropes and puts their bodies on the line. And I never will ever judge anybody who wants to do something that they love. For me, like, yes, wrestling was something I loved, but it was the commentary that got me hooked. And I said to myself, I want to be that. And I just kept on saying that as I grew old and stuff like that. And like, a lot of times you will get laughed at, but you know what? Take that as a motivation as well, because sometimes those laughter won't stay forever, because that motivation will kickstart you and will make you happy. Because I remember being with someone like they didn't like what I was doing. That's okay, because sometimes you won't find the right people who's going to understand that. You're going to have sometimes you may have like a family who won't like what you do, but at the end of the day, it matters what you like to do. And if you keep going and if you keep busting your ass, keep doing it. Like, for God's sakes, like I keep thinking to myself, I wake up, get a panic attack, and then I just look at myself and I go, this is show day. This is something big. You're going to sit behind a broadcast table. You're going to put on a suit. You're going to put on like a bow tie that you've put the theme to. But as much as you put on those things, like if you lace up your boots, if you lace up anything and you just hit the road, one of those times you're going to feel happy. Like, I had my brothers used to drive me to shows. Now I'm like the one who's driving myself to these shows. And I go, I could do this. I could drive more, or I could fly by myself. I know what I'm doing. And all I will tell you, if you really love this, keep going. Because at the end of the day, yes, you're not going to get signed like a finger snap, because yeah, we all want to be signed. But if you get yourself out there and if you really make a good impression, why stop?
Most definitely. I will say, though, jealous on meeting Eddie Kingston, one of my freaking favorites. But yeah, great advice, because I know I've actually brought up, people might laugh at you. When I was still in my hometown, I was going through the process of enlisting, and there were some people that I knew in my hometown that I was excited. I was telling them, and they laughed at me. Like they didn't think I was even going to make it out of boot camp.
Mm.
Well, I used that as my motivation. Every time something got tough during the entire 4 years, I'm like, I'm proving them wrong. And then, boom, here I am. Yep, great advice. And yeah, not everybody's going to get to the main event of WrestleMania right away. It can be a bit of a grind. Lord knows it's enough of a grind trying to get any of those guys on the podcast, because they're, no offense, but their media people are a pain in the ass to get a hold of. It's just the way it is. But before we go, where can people find you social media wise? So if they don't have their eyes on you and where you're going to be, they can go ahead and get them there.
So if you want to follow me on any social media, you can follow me on Twitter or X, you want to call it. I'm trying to get back on that train, is trying to get back into social medias. It's Josh Gjonaj, spelled Gjonaj, on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you are going to be in Toledo, Ohio, I will be at CIW's Burning Point. And then the week afterwards, I think it will be June 8th, that will be the show I will be at for CIW, Championship International Wrestling. And then I'll be at Old Wrestling on Friday the 13th.
Oh, boy.
We are traveling back in time, folks. You're not looking at Josh Gjonaj, you're looking at Joshua Bowtie, who's going to be there. And it's going to be a show full of mysteries. What's going to happen? I don't know. I seriously don't know. But I will also be at EFW, Extreme Fight World, in Cleveland, Ohio. Extreme Fight World is presenting EFW number 3. We had announced our championship main event between the Ultra Star Ashton Day defending the EFW Heavyweight Championship against Ricky Shane Page.
Ooh, that's going to be a good one.
Yes. By all means, follow me on all the social medias. Where I'm gonna be, please tag your promotions. If they need a commentator, if they need a broadcast partner with my, fellow P9, that's the team name. Don't tell them I said it, but Peapod, we would like to make it ourselves out there. We want to be sure to bring out the best out of all of us, but seriously, definitely like tag me in these promotions. I would love to travel a little more. I would love to get my name out there more because, hey, this is what I would like to do, and I'm hoping to make it as a full-time job where I don't have to worry about, hey, working a 9 to 5 anymore.
Yeah, I'd love to get to that point myself.
Yeah.
Anyways, that is about all I have. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to a lot of those shows that you're, especially the one with Ricky Shane Page, another past guest of mine. Looking forward to it all.
I appreciate you having me on here.
Okay. My fucking button issue. Get fucking